It was just one sentence, but it ruined me. And hi, hello, friends and strangers. So tonight, actually, I decided that I'm going to do a reading vlog of Pachinko by Minji Lee. I just literally picked this book up. I downloaded the audiobook so I could listen to it while I'm reading physically. I am buddy reading this with Hey Book Junkie. So far, I'm just 2 pages into the book and I already feel like the world building would be really good, and I feel like the characters will also be well developed. So that's just me pointing out my expectations as well, just literally 2 pages into the book. So I will check in again once I've made a dent on the book or if I have other thoughts. Bye bye. Hello again, friends and strangers. A quick update, hopefully quick, on where I am right now with Pachinko by Minji Lee. It is now March 12th, on Saturday. It is now 11 p.m. and I've just wrapped up my weekly reading sprint over at my channel, and I made a huge dent on Pachinko. I started at page 88 at the beginning of the live sprint, and when it ended 3 hours later, I was already at page 174. I stopped at the 3rd chapter of book 2 of Pachinko. Apparently it's divided into books. The books are divided into this span of few years. So the first book was 1910 to 1933, and the second book spans 1939 to 1962. So far, it is pretty compelling. I already know, I have a feeling that this is gonna break my heart because so far there's pain, there's suffering. I actually took note of it when I was annotating that when I was on page 9, there was so much death on that page that I low-key got stressed because I was thinking, this is just page 9. There's so many more pages to go and I only have a wee heart to handle pain right now. What else can I say about Pachinko? So far, it's really good. The writing, it's gripping, it's compelling. As I mentioned in my live stream earlier, it took me so long to pick up Pachinko because it's a historical fiction, and usually with historical fiction, I get intimidated because I have this feeling or it's just internal pressure, really. Wherein, if I'm reading a historical fiction novel, I feel like there's an expectation from me that I need to know something about the history that's being told in the book. So, like in this case with Pachinko, it's set in the early 20th century, and it's the time when Japan was colonizing Korea. And while I know that this happened, I don't have extensive knowledge about it, nor I did extensive research on the topic. Historical fiction novels are there to give you an idea on what happened in this specific time in history, in this specific event in history. But on the other hand, it's like you need to know something in order to confirm whether some of the facts presented in the historical fiction novel are actually facts. But I just try not to think too much about it, which I am actually doing right now. I wanted to put it out there that from the beginning up to now where I am, the book has this ominous feeling to it, because I feel like so many bad things could happen in just a page, in just a paragraph, in just a sentence. And that's the vibe that I have when reading Pachinko. When I read page 9, I was like, this is just one page from a book and it's already stressing me out. So it just has this ominous vibes to it. But if you're watching this and you want to read Pachinko, whether in time for the release of the Apple TV series or you just want to get into it, don't be intimidated by it. I was at first, but it's accessible, actually. It's pretty accessible. It's pretty easy to read. The characters are easy to distinguish as well. They have their own personalities. They're very distinctive. And even the world building, it's easy to imagine. It's easy to put a picture on where all of this is happening. So don't be intimidated. And this is coming from someone who was initially intimidated by Pachinko. It's really good so far. I don't want to say more that could potentially spoil the book, but the characters are also well fleshed out so far. I'm starting to have feelings towards the characters. Feelings as in, like, I want to take care of them, I want to hug them, I want to comfort them, those kinds of feelings. And I don't want to get too attached, but I just am, because I feel like when there are good moments, there will be triple the bad moments. And when something good is happening to this character, I just feel like he or she, they could die anytime. They could die right after this good moment. And it just has that kind of vibe. You have to be ready for the heartbreak. And right now, I don't think I am, but I am warning you to be ready for that. I just have a feeling that the characters that I actually like would die, get killed, murdered. I don't know. It's just, if you've read this, please let me know what you think about it. I will try to read more tomorrow. It's a Sunday. I mentioned in my reading sprint earlier that when I do sprints, I don't feel guilty not being able to read the next day. And I hope that's not the case tomorrow, because I do want to read. I want to continue reading Pachinko. It's such a great book so far. So I'll try to check in again tomorrow. Good night, everyone. Hi, it is now March 16, Wednesday, and I finished book 2 of Pachinko. So I think I mentioned that Pachinko is divided into 3 books. So the next part is already book 2, and that spans 1962 to 1989. So look at the tabs that I have so far. So they have no significance right now. It's just that I color coded them according to the book, and my notes so far are a lot. And I think even my thoughts are more than what I actually took note of. As I mentioned before in my previous entry, Pachinko is a devastating book. I'm right to know that this book is ominous. While there aren't death after death anymore with book 2, but it sets up the next generation for this family that we are following. So the 2 boys, Noah and Mozasu, are growing up. They're already men. They already have ambitions of their own. They want to help the family while doing what they actually want to do. They are also starting to fall for other people. There are still losses along the way. There are still plot twists. There are challenging / annoying people. I think I'm just annoyed at this one character. I won't name them, but it's definitely what set in motion the foundation sort of for book 3, because there was a huge revelation brought about by this one freaking character. But I'm not annoyed at like the revelation happening or like the secret was suddenly discovered, because I believe that eventually that would have happened. It was inevitable. I think it was supposed to be part of the story for that secret to unfold, but it's more of the way that it happened. I actually feel for the character, Noah, the eldest son of Sunja. I definitely would have acted the same way. That person went over the line, and I was just so annoyed by how it happened. Like, the audacity. I was just so annoyed by what this person did. I took note of these when I was reading book 2. So I took note here of Sunja's powerlessness as a mom, as a person, as a woman. Especially, her situation is tearing her apart because ultimately she is a mom who has to take care of her sons, her family, even her brother-in-law and sister-in-law. So she's torn between fulfilling her duties and the expectations that other people have, especially men, have over women in general. Like, she's just powerless because they are poor, and no matter how hard she works, nothing that she is expecting or wanting to happen actually happens. And I also took note here of children having no normal childhood and are forced to grow up fast. Example, Noah and Mozasu. So I'm only setting these 2 characters as an example because we are following this family, but it's safe to say that it's the same case for most of the Korean characters, or the Korean citizens living in Japan. Like, there are so many things that they have to prove, and their race is already being looked down upon in a country who was their colonizer. So like, Mozasu and Noah has to grow up fast. If I remember correctly, they had to start working like physical labor when they were just 12 or 13, and Mozasu, who was the youngest, was like 7 or 8. I like their characters. These two boys are total opposites. They have completely different goals, different personalities. Noah, the eldest son, wants to go to university and study, eventually get a decent job, and he wants to go back to Korea, their homeland. And there's Mozasu, who hates studying, who thinks school is just bullshit. He gets into fights over people that he cares about. I totally feel for the women in this book, especially Sunja and Kyunghee. They have gone through so much, and I couldn't imagine myself being in their position and still being sane. Like, still being a functioning person, citizen, mom. Just reading what they were going through was difficult, and that's just me reading. I wasn't living their fact, I wasn't living their situation. I am loving this book. I haven't finished it yet, but I just know it's gonna be a favorite. It's gonna be a favorite of mine, and I understand why it's just generally well loved by the community. I am so excited for the TV series, especially now. I saw the trailer and I feel like the whole vibe, the whole setting, their choice of characters were actually accurate to how I was picturing them in the book. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Oh, I also took note that men are prideful creatures. I set an example, which is Yoseb. So Yoseb is Isaac's brother, and Isaac is Sanja's husband. So Yoseb is Sanja's brother-in-law, and Yoseb is married to Kyunghee. So I set Yoseb as an example because there were a lot of instances where he just can't accept the fact that Kyunghee and Sanja eventually need to work because their family needs money, and he just can't wrap his head around that fact. And well, granted that this time in history, it's not surprising to see men who would feel bad and who would feel ashamed because their wife or their sister or their mother has to work to earn money, because they feel and they know, and it's what society dictates, that it is their job to provide for the family. It is their job to work. It is their job to give money to the women of the household, to send their kids to school, to put food on the table. It is their job. It's not surprising. I think even now that's sort of the case. That's not a new concept. So anyway, my point is that it adds to my point of Sanja and the other women characters in the story who feel hopeless because they're like torn between like these prideful creatures who surely enough cannot 100% provide for the family with their given energy, etc. And between wanting to just fulfill their duties as mother, as sisters, it's surely tough to be a woman in this time period, in this book. So yeah, I have a lot of thoughts, but I'm glad that I'm actually doing this reading vlog. It's making me realize that maybe I should be doing this for every book that I read. I don't know if I would have the energy for that, but it helps me remember the immediate thoughts that I have for the book. So it would help with the wrap-ups, the reviews, just generally remembering what the book is about or what my feelings and emotions and thoughts were about them. So yeah, I feel like I dragged on, and this reading vlog will be a pain in the ass to edit, so I'm gonna stop now. I'm probably just gonna watch some Netflix for now. I will I would like to start book 3 tomorrow instead. So, bye. I'll update again soon. Hello again. It is now Friday, March 18. I haven't done any reading tonight. I fixed some stuff for the reading sprint tomorrow, and a very quick update on where I am with Pachinko. I started with book 3 last night, and I finished until chapter 2 of book 3. So again, the book is divided into 3 books, so I'll be referring to them accordingly. And I don't have much thoughts yet on 2 chapters of book 3, aside from the fact that I think we are getting into the 3rd and 4th generation of the family. And the 3rd generation, again, is Noah and Musasu. So we are also having a glimpse on the 4th generation already, and it's pretty interesting. Still interesting so far, still compelling. So yeah, I'm gonna update again once I have more reading done. So since I'm going to be reading Pachinko digitally tonight, if I do happen to have highlights, I'm just going to transfer them physically, so it's not as if I'm missing out on, well, I am missing out on the experience of reading it fully physically. So, hello again, everyone. It is raining hard just now. I got to a part in Pachinko. I'm still in book 3 since it's the last book. Anyway, it's quite obvious that I can't right now. I can't brain, I can't. There's just something about this story and how the author wrote it. Like, you would think as a reader, and you're already emotionally attached to the characters and their grief, their feelings of hope, and whenever things are looking up for them, especially in book 3, it seems like things are getting better for some of our characters, and you would just get hit by something at the end of a chapter. And when I was reading it, I wasn't filming myself reading because I was in a different room and I didn't have my phone with me, so I was shocked. I was really shocked that I had to close the book because it was just too much. It was just one sentence, but it ruined me. It's just, I wouldn't say this book is trauma porn because these things could happen, and although there were really bad things that happened to the characters throughout the book so far, there were still good things, and you'd feel hopeful along with the characters, and you'd just want them to be happy in the end. But just that chapter, that line, that sentence, I don't want to believe it. I don't want to believe it because of who delivered the news. So if you've read Pachinko, you might know who I'm talking about. But I'm not gonna name drop just so I wouldn't spoil it for anyone who hasn't read it yet. And I want to keep this reading vlog as spoiler free as possible. But I don't want to believe it, so I'm kind of scared right now to continue reading after that specific sentence because I don't want it to be true. Right now, I'm in denial. I don't want to think that that happened. I am just shocked. I'm shocked because I still have like 100 pages to go, and there are still so many things that could happen. And I think that's also the magic and what makes it tragic. This book is almost 500 pages long, and there are so many things that could be packed in just one paragraph, in just one sentence, that could change the whole story, that could throw it to a different plane. And for me, that just means Min Jin Lee is such a powerful writer. They could write just one sentence that could shock you to the core. And that's just one sentence of a paragraph of a page in a book. It's just almost 3 p.m. right now on a Sunday, March 19. I'm scared to pick this book up right now. I feel like I just want to lie down first, eat something, I don't know. But also another part of me is very curious to find out if what happened in that sentence is real, because it's inevitable for me to read the rest of the book. So I'm just basically delaying pain, delaying the conclusion of the book. If you've read the book, let me know. I feel like if you've read the book, you'll know what part I'm talking about. The part wherein it seems like everything is just falling back into good places, but bam, you just get hit by something that would completely change the book's course yet again. I'm probably just gonna get something to eat first. It's raining hard now, so it's a cozy time to actually read a book. I'm gonna update you later, or maybe I could film something while I'm doing my reading sprint. I don't know. Depends on my mood later. Bye bye. Hi again, friends and strangers. It is now March 23, Wednesday. I finished Pachinko last Saturday during the last leg of my reading sprints. There are too many things to unpack for Pachinko. Yeah, it took me this long to conclude my reading vlog. One, because I've been terribly busy, but this book is still fresh in my mind. I cannot stop thinking about it, and I cannot stop my heart from breaking for this book, even after all of these days that passed. I apologize if I may sound repetitive because honestly I don't remember much from my previous entries anymore of this reading vlog, but editing Pam will remember. Don't worry though, if you got to this part of the reading vlog, I will keep this reading vlog non-spoilery as possible. When I finished Pachinko, despite the very depressing undertone and the very sad way that it was ended, I definitely felt relief, which is pretty ironic if you think about it. I guess the relief comes from no longer being subjected to more heartbreaks from this book. This book is just packed, brimming from cover to cover with so much pain, disappointment, and hopelessness. The plot is definitely thick, but it won't really confuse you. There were some significant time skips as well, but they were necessary to keep the book interesting and compelling and not bore you with too much details, especially it tackles like almost a century of events because it starts at early 1900s and it ends around like 1980 or almost 1990 if I'm not mistaken. The characters were really well thought out and written. You just know that they are completely flawed, vulnerable, and a lot of times just very unlucky. The family we follow had to rely on their own strength and hope just to survive. As Koreans being colonized by the Japanese, they didn't have the privilege, period. They were regularly subjected to racial prejudice and bigotry. Also, despite all of the hard work, eventually being able to carve a bit of themselves in society and having money, it didn't mean that they were immune to more tragedy, which was really one of the most heartbreaking parts of the story. No matter how hard this family worked to survive, they've already lost too much of themselves and of the people that they care for. These are the things that money cannot bring back or cannot replace. In conclusion, I highly recommend this book. If you want to feel pain and feel shocked to the core until you are numb, then this is the book for you. Maybe someday I will put out spoilery review of this book, but for now, this will be the end of my reading vlog. Thank you if you got to this end of the reading vlog. Thank you for watching. Again, please read Pachinko. It's a highly recommended book. I understand the hype now. This is something that I would definitely recommend to a lot of people who are gonna ask for recommendations, especially for historical fiction. And I am looking forward as well to the Apple TV series. I am very excited about it, especially just seeing the characters that I feel emotionally invested on. Just see them on the TV screen. Definitely excited about that. If you're watching this, please read Pachinko. If you already have, share your thoughts down below. If you share the same sentiments as I do, if you share the same feelings as I do, I would really appreciate that. And again, thank you so much, friends and strangers. I will see you on my next video. Bye bye.